Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture. Y'all, I apologize for being late. Child, I was watching that ASAP Rocky trial and got lost in it. Woo, child. All right. But that ain't what y'all came here for. So let me first do a little housekeeping. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Where are we? Here we go. Okay. So shout out to my Connect Lily Rush. She always seems to have the info, or she finds it very quickly, or it comes to her. She must be following a lot of different people. However, it doesn't matter. Let's get into it. Let me pull up my Instagram because I need to get there. Ooh, let's see. Give me one moment. I just need to pull this information up. All right. Okay, I think I got everything. Okay, here we go. So I got the information and I want to share my screen. Because it all has to do with Taylor Swift. Now, if you watched my last video, I had posted about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively in regards to apparently Blake Lively and Taylor Swift have kind of pulled back from each other. And I had just surmised with all the stuff that's going on and with Blake Lively's public uh, persona not being, that she's having some bad publicity, that she probably would want to, she wants, Taylor Swift may want some great publicity around her and her relationship with her music. I don't know if she's still on tour or not, all of these different types of things. So I was making the assumption that she wanted to make sure all of those things were in place. And with Blake Lively having some bad press at this moment, she was really making sure that she had as much good press around her as possible. And that's my forethought. But that was before I started, before Lily sent this information to me. And I wish I had seen it before she had sent it to me, because I would have incorporated, or would have read some more stuff and would have incorporated it in my last video. And I apologize, y'all. I've been watching this ASAP Rocky trial, and the witness, the victim, has been in cross-examination for 2 days, and now they're on redirect, and I am just in shambles because it's just so much stuff and so much of not telling the truth when it's not necessary to lie. You could just tell the truth and it would have come over a lot better. But anyway, that's why I'm all in shambles and all over the place, because I had meant to, how I put my alarm together so that I can come. The alarm went off, and I'm like, oh, it's not that far of a thing. And then when I looked, here it is, almost 6 o'clock, and I told you I was going to be here at 5:30. So I do apologize. But anyway, let's get back to this. So apparently, Candace Owens is all over this. She is all over this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing. Now, I don't know if she hopped on it because of the fact that it was popular or whatever, but she apparently is a source for many people. She's going around investigating things and is a source for people. Now, at my last video, you noticed that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are going to ask the judge to dismiss Justin Baldoni's petition. And we also understood that Justin Baldoni is going to try to take all the petitions and put them together. So it'll be him suing all the people at the same time. So we have a tentative court date, which is next year, which is, I think, March 9th, 2026. So this probably will continue to heat up. There's a court hearing that's coming up next week to hear some of the complaints that were put forth in regards to Justin Baldoni and his lawyer putting out more information. So we're going to see how those things are going to. But let me bring to my screen this, because I want y'all to hear it. And we'll go over it. I think that's as big as it's going to get. All right, so.
Why would the New York Times risk their reputation for Blake Lively? Well, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift's connections to the New York Times and how this all makes sense. First off, let me give a trigger warning because, yes, my source is Candace Owens. I know some people are bothered by that, but she's my source for this because she does an amazing job covering this. And this is really interesting, guys, so let's just get into it. We're going to take this back to November of 2024. So this is a month before Blake ever files her legal complaint. During this time, Taylor Swift is spotted with Ronan Farrow.
An email that I received last night caught my attention, okay? A woman emailed me and she said, Candace, I know this is really weird, but I so vividly remember all of these articles and images and videos of Taylor Swift hanging out with this New York Times reporter around this time. Like, and she's like, and I can't find it anywhere. It's so weird. It's like her team has purged it from the internet. Like, are people powerful enough to get videos and photos removed on the internet? She's like, I'm a huge Swiftie. You know, I was in these forums. I remember seeing this and I just can't remember who that reporter was. So I'm able to find it, which is very interesting because I'm going to show you, you're going to see how many paparazzi are around, how many photographers are around taking pictures, videographers taking pictures of her with this particular journalist, okay? But it was indeed difficult to find this.
Hey, excuse us.
Taylor, sleep tight. The person that you just saw saying sleep tight to Taylor Swift is none other than Ronan Farrow.
You know,
let me tell you how I know Ronan Farrow. Now, Ronan Farrow, and she's going to mention this as well, he is the son of Mia Farrow. Now, he used to work for MSNBC, and I do remember he did a story in regards to his sister, who, not the sister that married their stepfather, but another sister, whom he says that his stepfather, which is former Woody Allen was his stepfather, that he alleges that he had some PDF file tendencies toward his other sister. And if you're unfamiliar with Woody Allen raised his stepdaughter, because this is a daughter that Mia Farrow had adopted, and then he turned around and married her. And so there was always questions of whether or not there was any grooming or anything going on in particular with this child, because like I said, Mia Farrow raised the daughter, and then the daughter gets grown, and then he marries her. He divorces Mia and he marries the stepdaughter. Well, there is another daughter that claims that Woody Allen had done some things untoward to her. And I do remember that Ronan Farrow was, quote unquote, investigating this information. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he wrote a book about it. So look, hold on. Yeah, I don't know if this book is about it. Okay. I know he wrote a book. Okay, so he did the thing with Harvey Weinstein. He put that information out. Okay, so that's why they want to call him the quote unquote the father of the Me Too movement. And if you're not familiar, that was the movement that brought down Harvey Weinstein. I guess he had done some investigative reporting into the women that have claimed that Harvey Weinstein had done some very inappropriate things. And so therefore he investigated it, blah, blah, blah. So they're putting the connection between the New York Times and Taylor Swift via Ronan. Let's continue.
You know what's funny, guys? If you go to look for like Ronan and Taylor in like the forums, I saw like 3 different posts, but the post is deleted by the person who originally posted it. That's one of them. A second one, a third one. This is all alleged, guys. This is all speculation. It seems like the Taylor and Ronan part of it that people were talking about has been scrubbed from the internet. But this
Interesting. And who were the posters in those posts? So was it who posted those and who had them scrubbed from the internet? Interesting. Now, let me be very clear. I don't think that I am hoping that someone with journalistic integrity from the New York Times is not writing something because they're doing a favor for a coworker who is friends with Taylor Swift. But let's continue.
video is still on TMZ. I'm not gonna lie, I never knew who Ronan Farrow was until I watched her video.
Ronan Farrow, without question, the father of the Me Too movement. The New York Times wrote these explosive pieces, arguably the most powerful journalist at the New York Times. You could.
He is a well-known American journalist. He is the father of the Me Too movement, apparently, and he's the son of actress Mia Farrow and filmmaker Woody Allen. Candace goes on to explain that this matters because if there is a father of the Me Too movement, there is also a mother.
Wasn't the only one credited with the launch of the movement. He wasn't the only journalist, Nepo baby, who won a Pulitzer Prize. Reporters who exposed Harvey Weinstein. In their new book, She Said, the Pulitzer Prize winning reporters Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey, and on the right, Megan Twohey is indeed the woman who wrote the takedown piece regarding Justin Baldoni.
And let's not forget that.
Okay. Let's continue. Because, I'm trying to connect these connections that she's trying to make.
They saved images that they used in this article days prior to Blake even filing, and they saved these images under Smear Baldoni, Smear the publicist. Smear was in front of their names. So why would they do all this? Why would they literally risk their reputation for Blake Lively? Blake Lively, who's normally like on TMZ people, but not New York Times. New York Times is a newspaper, online newspaper. That's where Taylor Swift comes in. Taylor Swift, her connections, they may not do it for Blake. Maybe they'll do it for Taylor. Candace also made this great timeline where Taylor was during the casting of It Ends With Us. April 2nd to the 12th, Taylor is on an Era Tours break. April 5th, and this is 2023, Blake Lively texts Justin Baldoni saying that she's declining meeting with the intimacy coordinator because she feels good. April 8th, Entertainment Tonight breaks the news of Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn breaking up. 10th, Taylor Swift is seen in New York City after her breakup. That's when they invited Baldoni to their penthouse, and remember, Taylor dropped by. It seemed like Taylor was there for a reason, to help push Blake's scene, in my opinion. Another great point Candace makes is that she brings up these photos. Remember the photos of Taylor with her girls just walking in New York City post-breakup, show like she's good, she's got her girls, she's looking good. And then after these photos come out, there's a mass unfollowing of Joe Alwyn. Does this sound familiar, guys? This seems like something we've heard before. Kind of like the mass unfollowing of Justin Baldoni to make people know like this is that person's fault. These big names unfollowed them. The connections are strong, guys. It's the Taylor Swift effect. We've all seen it. And Blake Lively said it herself. Taylor is one of her little dragons,
Now, again, could that be PR at play? I would think it would be. With people mass unfollowing people and stuff like that. Sometimes those things are good PR moves. I'm just trying to figure out this Taylor Swift effect. What is it? Because Taylor Swift have all these connections? Because we do understand and remember that Taylor Swift's parents have a lot of connections. I think one is an investment broker, and I don't know what the other parent does. So she has all of these types of connections. So what I'm hearing that the Taylor Swift effect is as follows. Taylor Swift has connections to the New York Times. There was a time that I think if you read my Lady Whistledown story, she mentioned that there was information put out that Blake Lively had threatened Sony with talking to the New York Times if she wasn't allowed to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Don't know how true all that is. And so they're basically saying that Blake called her friend, because she's Khaleesi, remember? And she was able to get her dragon to breathe fire down the New York Times so that she could give them the information and that they can print the information for her. That's what I'm assuming this effect is. Y'all let me know.
Monsters. And while, yes, I definitely think Blake Lively in ways used Taylor Swift, it seems, but I'm saying that I think Taylor was well aware of what was happening. I hate to say that, but if I'm going to be real honest, Taylor is not that naive. Taylor allegedly was on the set reading some of the scripts in the scenes with Bradley Cooper. So they definitely were involved. She apparently helped cast the young Lily. But yeah, anywho, let me know your thoughts. Why would
What do y'all think? I don't know. At this point, y'all, there's so much information coming out. If it's not legal information, I don't know if I'm going to be covering it because it is so much information and everyone has their own little think pieces about everything. And I'm telling you, it's a lot. It is absolutely a lot. Do y'all like my Hulk me? Right over here in the corner. Yes, that's Pam as the Hulk. This She-Hulk. Thank you very much. I don't know if I don't know how it is. I don't know how we're dealing with the Taylor Swift effect and how it is. I just look at Blake Lively having access to Taylor Swift. I would hope she would not use her connections and things like this to help her friend, and knowing that and I would hate for her to have to find out if not any of this information at any point at any time is false. Now, I was on, is it called Dumoy, whatever it is. It's a blind item website. They were on there saying that their sources back in May or June, had stated that they didn't see Ryan Reynolds on set for this show. That they didn't see Ryan Reynolds on set, which was odd because from what Blake Lively said in her suit, that Ryan was her person. So I'm when she needed for him to be on set, he was supposed to have been on set. But their connects are saying that they didn't see them on set. They also said that they felt like their connects had said that they felt like Justin Baldoni was had eyes for another co-star on there. I don't know what the girl's name is. Let me see if I can find that post for you and we can take a listen to it together. Okay, I found it, y'all. Found it.
Here that Blake Lively had something came out this week that was sent to me by a lot of you, and I watched it. What I'm talking about is Candace Owens' coverage of It Ends With Us. Now, I don't believe, nor did I ever hear, that Blake Lively had any sort of romantical feelings for Justin Baldoni. I think it's also a really dangerous narrative that people are putting out there, that a woman had feelings for a man in the workplace and he didn't reciprocate, so the woman is suing him for false sexual harassment. It's unbelievable. That's not the part of Candace's intel that intrigued me. The part was the Ryan Reynolds part. Did he come to set and see something he didn't like? And is that when the takeover happened? So I went back to my original intel, and I've referred to this intel several times. It was originally published in a 2023 podcast episode. I wanted to go back, read their messages. This is what they had to say. This is somebody who was on set. Blake is difficult. She continually shows up to set unprepared, doesn't know her lines, and can't seem to take any feedback / constructive criticism. I can't stress the Blake not knowing her lines and how bad it was. And the main problem is that the director, Justin Baldoni, he is an actor, not a director, and it shows. He has no clue what he's doing. And he was flirting with Olivia Ponton on set so hard, it was embarrassing. That was in June of 2023. Now, mind you, at that time, there were no lawsuits. What people were talking about back then was the writer's strike. And they wanted to know if It Ends With Us was going to continue filming or when it was going to continue filming after the strike. I went back to this person and I asked this person, did you ever see Ryan on set? And this person said, no, they never saw Ryan. Another source said if Baldoni had issues with Ryan Reynolds as the primary trouble source on set, he would have gone after him in the lawsuit. Baldoni's filings haven't seemed afraid of going after the big fish. Let's get back to what Candace said. She said Ryan came on set, saw whatever he saw, and then took over. One problem I had with this is that if you read Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, they were not handing over those dailies. They wouldn't even give them to Blake Lively. So do we really think that Ryan just came on set one day and was like, let me see the dailies? And they were like, okay, I don't know. Also, I want to say, if you don't agree with any of this, that is fine. People are allowed to have their own opinions. You could say, hey, I don't agree with X, Y, and Z of what you're saying, but maybe look at it this way. Fine. Be civil. Just don't be an asshole in the comments. You will get blocked. Blocked city, baby.
All right. Ryan looks what? He looks haggard. Well, you know. He always looks like that. You know, he always gives you that air of unkemptness a little bit. You know, just, you know, he has like the scruffy beard. It's just when he starts to act, does he shave and probably starts getting facials or anything like that. I guess during his downtime, he's not really worried about looking a certain way. But what do y'all think about that information? He's always had beady eyes, child. You know, his eyes sit real close together. He's always had beady eyes like that. And I think, let me tell it, he's either he has some kind of cosmetic stuff done. And what I mean is probably has his, you know, the bags up under his eyes or something like that worked on. Because every now and then, you know, like you said, his eyes can look a little beady. I think that's when his eyes are real puffy. But all of that to say, they really try to mask that his eyes are so set together, because it always looks like they pull them like right up in here, so they have that kind of effect. So I don't know. Oh, you talking about Justin Baldoni? He has that, you know, and that was my next thing to mention, Kai. I was thinking, was that why the people on the set kind of turned on him, because of the fact that maybe he was flirting with this young lady, and then Blake comes with her little lawsuits. Yeah, you know, he's very inappropriate with me. I mean, you know, he was inviting people to come on set and look between my legs when we were doing the birthing scene. You see what I'm saying? Do you think that all of that kind of and that's why they are kind of turning against them? You see what I'm saying? It's you know, because again, and she says something that I've probably been saying, that if Justin's going to be a director, then he needs to be all in being director. He can't be the director and then be the actor at the same time. He's got to do one of both. And I think it tripped him up trying to do both. And the way he speaks, particularly how he was speaking to Blake, particularly how he is possibly speaking to the other young lady, he does have that very like he's very familiar with you kind of speak. And you know, if you're insecure, if you're something like that, you don't know him, he you may think he's trying to flirt you out out your underwear or not. But again, I don't know these people. I've just listened to him in interviews. Even when he's in an interview speaking with across from somebody, he still has that air of flirtation when he speaks. So I don't know if that's because he's trying to flirt, or is that just his personality? Because some things people do. It's not, but everybody is not equipped to do them both. And apparently here he wasn't, because of the fact that had he been a director, just a director, he would have been able to put his foot down. You see what I'm saying? But because he's the director and he is the actor, he's seeing it from both lenses. And it takes a very special person that can act and direct at the same time. And he's just, I'm not saying that he's a bad actor. I'm not saying that he's a bad director. I'm saying that when he tries to be a director and an actor, he sucks at it. I'm just going to say it. I don't mean no harm in it. He needs to do one or the other. You know how some of us we can be trained to do multiple things, but we're good at one thing, and we'll do the other things because of the fact that we were trained to do them, but that's not our wheelhouse. We can do skill A. We learned skill B, C, D, E, and F, but try to do all of those skills together, we just won't be we won't work. It won't work out. But if we just had to do skill A, we excel at skill A. We can incorporate B every now and then, but to try to do them all at the same time, I don't think he's equipped for that. And like I said, I'm not telling anybody that I wouldn't go on record saying he's a bad director. What I'm going on record to say is directing and acting, he can't do them both, not at the same time. I need you to send me the link to this. I want to see that video too. Well, what they had said about her not being prepared and not knowing her lines, that has been said about her. She likes the spotlight, but the work behind the spotlight, she wasn't too bright in or too equipped. And I don't know if it's because she really doesn't have the skill of an actress. Some people have the look of actresses and have the look of what society wants a popular singer or an actor to look like. And Blake Lively has that look, but she may not have the skill. I think of Britney Spears. Britney Spears had the look of a pop star, but she didn't have the skills of the pop star. And I would do you one better. I would even throw Madonna in there. Now, I know everybody's like, Pam, you need to stop. Madonna had the look of a pop star, but she didn't have the skills. I mean, she could carry a tune, and that would be about it. Now, she did a wonderful thing by moving outside of singing and getting into acting and things like that. I thought that she, as far as between acting and singing, I thought she was a better actress than she was a singer. But she was made popular for her being a pop star because, again, she had the look and she knew how to. She was doing PR before PR became popular. People talking about the PR mess, but she always had a good machine behind her. With her record label and her company and things like that. But again, there are people who have the look, but they don't necessarily have the skills. Christina Aguilera has the look, plus that she has the skills to be a pop star. Hello, loyalty. Sony conceded to her before Wayfair ever did. And that is what I don't understand. Because in my last video, I mentioned that Lady Whistledown said something to the effect that Blake Lively had threatened Sony. And she had threatened to go to the New York Times. Hold on, y'all. You remember this article that I read in my last thing. Now, she says that these threats right here, I'm looking at the second paragraph right here, that these threats were recorded months before she did precisely that. Leads me to conclude that there was no no harassment, that she was simply deploying the most dastardly of threats to manipulate, indeed blackmail Sony into giving way to her demands. Then, having succeeded so brilliantly in stealing the scriptwriter, director, producer, actor's work from under his nose with that ploy, she then recycled the same accusation, knowing how incendiary as well as effective it was, using the same New York Times in December, as she and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, furthered for their own benefit their agenda of destroying the unfortunate Mr. Baldoni's life with an accusation that cannot be true. Otherwise, it would not have been so doled out so opportunistically. And my question always has been, hey, entertainers, my question has always been, why wasn't Sony named in this lawsuit? Now, I know people say, oh, well, they're the distributors of this, but Sony had their fingers in everything. Everything was being run by. You can tell by the text messages from the Baldoni lawsuit that things were run by Sony. Because you remember when Blake Lively got out here and said that her husband was the one that wrote the rooftop scene. You saw how Sony was coming down there trying to figure out, well, who put him on the payroll? How was he on the payroll? Will we have any issues or problems or anything like that? Because if she was threatening Sony to go to the New York Times, was it because the lawsuit was, I mean, not the lawsuit, but the filming was concluded, so therefore she didn't. But again, if she had to have a meeting before she came back, and Sony was supposed to be in that meeting. So all I'm saying is Sony had a lot of fingers in everything for them now to all of a sudden, oh, we don't know anything about the lawsuit. Why are their hands clean in all of this? When they were telling Wayfair, well, we're going to let her do this and we're going to let her do that. You understand what I'm saying? So Sony can't come out like, oh, we were just the distributor. Oh, we just provided this. They can't do that because they had their hands in all of those things. She even knew how to go to Sony to bypass Wayfair. So my question is still, how is Sony's hands so clean? No one is suing Sony. But Sony was the stopgap. Sony was the one that made the final decision. Sony banned Justin Baldoni. Okay, so why? Blake bypassed Wayfair when Wayfair was the one that hired. She bypassed them and went to Sony. I'm still trying to, that is the piece of the puzzle that I cannot seem to get to. We all need to bounce our heads together to figure that out. There's either somebody at Sony that has that kind of thing. Something is going on at Sony. And I'm not trying to make it seem like some kind of big, but I'm just, everyone seems to think that Sony was the one that had the issues and had the power. Because Blake went to Sony. This is how Justin got pushed out of his editing of the movie. Blake got pushed. She was able to push him out of the screening where he was in a totally separate place. She took over the PR of the movie. Because she was hawking her hair care line and her alcohol. And she was able to do this to bypass Wayfair. And Wayfair was paying for it out of the budget that they had. So I'm still trying to figure out How did Sony wiggle their way out of a lawsuit? How did they wiggle their way out of any kind of culpability or anything like that? Because they were the ones apparently that everybody deferred to for the decisions. What am I comparing Lady Whistledown to? Hold on, y'all. And compare and see what. What do I need to bring up with Lady Whistledown? Oh, you done sent me a link, child. Where did you send it? In my did you send it to my X account? Hold on. Oh, just about my message here in the chat. I'm not seeing a link. Okay, I'm not seeing a link, on any one of your messages. Send the link again. I'm not seeing it in your in the chat. And I definitely will pull it up. Excuse me. Okay, well, I don't see it. All right. But I'm just interested to see why Sony was sorry about that, but I was just interested to see why Sony has been no one is talking about Sony in all of this. When I think that if Sony could have stopped a lot of this if they wanted to. Now, see, this is all I'm seeing. I'm not seeing a link in the chat. So I'm just clicking all of your Is it this courage of flaw? Well, possibly. Possibly. But still, if Sony was to just come out and say, well, whatever issue that they had, they did it because they had an issue with Justin or whatever the issue was. But did y'all look at my community page? Because I have a big question for y'all entertainers. Where in the world is Colleen Hoover? Where is she? She done got gone. She done got gone. Here we go. Thank you, ma'am. I got it. I got it. Where is Colleen? All right, here we go. So this is we're gonna listen to this real quick.
IMDb that he was involved in events with us. Hi and welcome to Flossy Talk. I'm Jasty Flo, and here on my channel I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood with celebrities and working as an entertainment reporter. First of all, thank you guys so much for all your engagement and support and beautiful emails and also all your amazing tips. I've received so many, and yeah, it's very interesting where these crazy.
Now she is the reporter. If you all don't remember, you remember. Thank you. I will. You remember when Blake was pregnant with the other lady? I think it was some Woody Allen movie, and she said, "Congratulations on your bump," and then Blake just went into this tirade. You said 5:45. All right. This is that reporter, and I understand too that she had a lawsuit. I think against the New York Times. We'll start here at 4:30.
Who worked for British media for many, many years. And I said, if they're saying sources in Daily Mail, should we trust it? Because she has connections in Daily Mail. And she said, I wouldn't, and laughing about it. So I don't know if actually someone came to the Daily Mail and said Taylor Swift is taking a step back, or if that's something that just I don't know, someone made up. But today I saw that Page 6 is reporting that Taylor Swift is not taking a step back from Blake Lively. And she has invited both her and Ryan to come to the Super Bowl. So I don't know what to believe. I feel like as long as we just see sources close to the person, I would take it with a grain of salt. So let's see if they show up together at the Super Bowl or not. I also want to say thank you to the person who sent me this video. This is an interview that Blake Lively did back in August on Capital FM in the UK. And it's pretty obvious now when you look back and watch this interview what had actually happened. One of the big things I took from this interview is that Blake Lively is talking about the editor Shane Reed, who was working with her on the Taylor Swift video that Blake Lively directed. And she said he was such an amazing editor that she reached out to him for him to come and finish the edit of It Ends With Us.
One of our editors, Shane Reed, who, fun fact, he was my editor on Taylor's music video that I directed, and he never edited a movie before. He just finished Deadpool and Wolverine, and he came on and helped us with this one.
Shane Reed does not mention on his IMDb that he was involved in It Ends With Us. So this is just a deal that they did together, apparently.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. I'm sorry. So he comes over from Deadpool and Wolverine to help you edit? And you want me to believe that Ryan Reynolds didn't know or didn't see anything in regards to It Ends With Us? Too many bedfellows. Too many bedfellows.
That obviously, I don't think even Sony knew about that, as they didn't know that Ryan Reynolds had written the rooftop scene, which also Blake Lively bragged about, and that you saw in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit that he was pointing out, that Sony was pointing out, like, can you stop Blake Lively from saying that Ryan Reynolds actually wrote the scene, because we haven't credited him. And these are legal issues as well. If you have been a
Right.
part of a movie, you need to get credit for that, and of course also get paid for that. In the same interview, she also mentions the composer, that they loved the composer so much that they contacted him. He was working on the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie. So yeah, that is a fact now. We know that they booted out the one that Justin Baldoni had found.
Yeah, and we share the same composer as well from Deadpool and Wolverine. So there's a lot of sharing happening.
So it's so obvious to me now how this whole thing has been a collaboration between her and Ryan, and that Justin Baldoni.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a doggone minute. That's too much. That's too many bedfellows, too many collaborations going on here. You mean to tell me, y'all meaning to tell me that she got all of these people from Deadpool and Ryan didn't facilitate these things? I'm giving you the side eye, the bombastic side eye, because that makes no sense. Let's continue. Thank you, Kai, for this tea. This is wonderful.
It was completely squeezed out. The thing is, I've also seen all the interviews I've seen with Blake Lively about this time when she was promoting It Ends With Us. She never mentioned Justin Baldoni, ever. But he's asked about her, and he talks so highly of her. And I think that says a lot about him as a character, that he is willing to go that extra step, not to throw anyone under the bus. So that really makes me respect him as a man and as a director. Another thing that I noticed in that interview is, like, I see this kind of tendency from Blake Lively. This reporter, the interviewer, she was very bubbly and sweet in her approach to her. And at the end of the interview, she said, "Oh, do you have any hidden tattoos? I had a tattoo because I really wanted one, but I didn't want my mom to find out. So I had to put it in a place where she never found out." And she shows her that she did a little tattoo inside her lip. And then this is how Blake Lively responds.
So I
got one on my gallbladder because I wanted to make sure no one saw it. So I was just like, it was a tricky process, but I'm not.
That response to me is not very pleasant. It's very belittling, like making fun of this reporter for doing what she did. And that's the kind of pattern I've seen with Blake Lively. As you know, she did kind of the same thing to me, which is another thing that they brought up in this interview, talking about the costume and the fashion and how important it is to her. But when I asked about the fashion, I was a sexist. You would never ask the men about that. She also said that, "Thank you for acknowledging me as a producer in the film." So it's obvious that she wants people to think of her more than just an actress. And the way this whole interview is just like, she talks about this as it is her movie. As I said before, she doesn't even mention Baldoni.
Yeah, because you notice that when she is talking about this thing, she's always like, and we did this and we did this, and I was able to get this from Deadpool and da 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 da. She doesn't mention him at all. But I would look at, she feels like, why would I mention someone that because that's her movie at that point. She's not going to mention Justin because that's her movie at that point. She has been given the keys to the kingdom from Sony about that movie. So that's her movie. We're going to continue to finish this out.
He doesn't mention the director. It's all about her and Ryan and how much influence they had on this film. The rest of the interview is a lot of word salad, just babbling. And it's so funny to me when I see these interviews now, because I've had experience so many times before when I've interviewed people. you sit there and they talk a lot, and then you're kind of a little nervous in the moment, so you don't think too much about what they're saying, although you try to come up with follow-up questions and everything. And then sometimes you go home and watch the interview afterwards, and then I'm like, they didn't say anything of substance in this interview. And I feel that's such a Hollywood thing to do. You just like, especially actors, because they can be very pretentious. I just recognize that so many times. And I recognize that in so many of Blake Lively's interviews, where she's talking about the feminine and the masculine and how it all came together. And, you know, and I'm like, the feminine and the masculine come together. Yeah, anyways. All right, guys, that's it for me this time. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please keep commenting and giving me your thoughts on.
Shout out to her. Y'all, let me get back up here. Hold on, let me see. Interesting. Interesting. I guess I'll look. That would be my homework for tonight. I'm going to see what's going on. Did this person step down because anything that had to do with this Blake Lively, or were they just going to step down anyway? It would be interesting. But I still have that question. Why isn't Sony's fingers all in this? They need to be all in this. All right, people. Yeah, that what's going on? I'm gonna have to look that up tonight. I've got to get back to my because I've got to do a video on the A$AP Rocky trial date today. And I was just fixing to say, because you know that Sony's what is it? Marvel villain universe was trash. So they probably got hit with that, because the only thing that I would see that was coming out of Sony that was any good is the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's going to be a trilogy. They've got one more to come out, but their villain universe that failed, and it failed because of the fact, how are you going to have a villain but you're not going to have a superhero for that villain to fight against? I guess they wanted us to feel some, have a, I don't know. I guess they were trying to do villain origin stories, but for some villains it was unnecessary. I think with the Craven, I didn't watch it. I'll wait till it comes on TV or whatever it comes on. But I think with that Craven, they had the ability to tell a good story. But they needed a superhero and all of these things. And they didn't even have to be. Well, I wish, they needed a superhero to bounce those villains on. The only one that worked out was Venom. And that was a surprise hit. So the one that worked out was Venom. But Venom was to the point where either you had to introduce Spider-Man or you were going to have to leave the planet or whatever. And they ended it like they ended it, because there was not going to be there wasn't a way to be able to continue to tell Venom's story if he did not interact with a superhero. So. Yeah, the movies were bad. The movies were awful. The movies were awful. Like I said, the Venom, I like the, I think it was the first one or the second one. I can't remember, but I did like him. The third one was but the third one had to go the way it had to go because of the fact, if they did not pit him up against a superhero, there was nothing else that they can do. He said he wanted to make multiple movies with Blake Lively if It Ends With Us did well, which it did. As soon as this mess came about, he resigned. I got you. I was picking up what you're putting down. You know that spell check will get us every time. Interesting. 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 You know what? I am literally perplexed on that. I'm literally trying to figure out how in the world. And I wanted to get to, there was something else that I saw. Hold up, y'all. Hold on. I'm just trying to get to the right person. Here we go. Let me share this. Because you remember earlier we were talking about Candace and her with the scoop. But this young lady, Ariadna Jacob, now she was the PR person for somebody on TikTok. And I think she sued or she was sued. Is she sued the New York Times? I can't remember, but she is talking to Candace Owens and she has a little thread going in, and we're just going to go review that really, really quick. Because it says here, Candace Owens said, and this was on January 30th, today we wrap up our Bardoni series with a plot twist that no one saw coming, but I had a weird hunch about Taylor Swift, and that's what we just talked about today. And she says, she has her little alarm thing. Candace, you were so close. You had it. Taylor Swift's PR empire, Ronan Farrow, playing industry Nepo enforcer, the NYT running protection, but then you lost the plot. Let's see what she lost. You really think that the New York Times wouldn't risk their reputation for Blake Lively? Girl, that's not a risk for them. It's their entire business model. The New York Times does not make moves based on reputation. They make them based on who benefits. And trust me, a lot of people benefited from taking down Baldoni. Ooh. Let's go down here. Let's explore, shall we? The New York Times got a juicy Hollywood feud to milk for clicks and to keep their "we break every Me Too" story branding alive. Because again, we learned that Ronan Farrow is considered to be the father of the Me Too movement. So let's continue. Lively's publicists took out top entertainment PR heavyweights, Melissa Nathan, Jennifer Abel, and Jed Wallace, some of the biggest names in crisis and Hollywood publicity. And Taylor Swift, she got to take a jab at Scooter Braun, who just so happens to have funded the crisis PR firm run by Melissa Nathan, one of the key players behind the Johnny Depp comeback. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Let's continue. Oh, there's a lot of y'all in here. Make sure you hit that like button. Oh, hey, Kat. Y'all say hello to Kat in the chat. She's one of my mutuals that flooded in. You must have flooded my chat with your people. Welcome. Welcome. You can be an entertainer here. We are going over the Taylor Swift effect, and we're learning some information as we go on because my entertainers will get out here and find this information really, really quickly. We have found out that the Sony CEO has stepped down, and we understand that Candace Owens had a little scoop about what was going on, which was contradicted just a little bit by the, what is that, Dumois, whatever the name of this blind item website on Instagram is. And so we're just going down some information, and I wanted to go over this this tweet thread by Ariadna. And you remember, if you're not familiar with, Scooter Braun was Taylor Swift's, was he her manager or producer or something, whatever it was, but she was trying to get rid of him. And so it is interesting to see, because she had a big beef with him. And it's interesting to see that he's the one that funded the firm by Melissa Nathan. Do you see all these people, too many bedfellows that are going on? All right, let's continue. Hollywood execs got to give Ryan Reynolds, their billion-dollar grossing golden boy, something that he wanted. Colleen Hoover secured her relationship with Lively, ensuring the rest of her books get adapted as Blake's version. Stephanie Jones got revenge on her former employer and a former client in one move. Ronan Farrow got to do Taylor Swift a solid by likely teeing up an easy one for Megan Twohey. Rose McGowan called out Weinstein first before it was safe, before it was convenient. And what did she get for it? Erased, while Ronan Farrow, Megan Twohey, and the New York Times took the credit. She called the New York Times first. She blew it open. But who got the Pulitzers? Who got the book deals? Who got the glowing media coverage? Not her. Y'all, hold on. Let me get through here. Let me get through some of these comments because my mind is it's too many bedfellows. It's too many things, too many people linking up and doing too much. Too much. Hello, hello. His name is probably on those. Because again, why is no one from Sony being sued? Why is no one from Sony? There's nothing, but Sony was the one with all the clout to be able to tell somebody, you no longer can edit the movie. I'm going to let her take her edit. You are no longer invited to the screening of the movie. And if you do come, we're going to put you in the basement and then put you in a totally different theater. And that was backed up by Bethany Frankel. Because she said that the vibes were off. So I'm just figuring out. Yes, it is. Thank you all so much for coming over. Thank you so much. Y'all are breaking news. I'm just a reporter. Y'all are breaking the news, honey. I appreciate it. Y'all, I love that y'all are here. 11 women came out against is this something recent? Oh, I don't know about that. Now Streamlabs, whatever it is you're doing, don't do it because, I was thinking about using you. Let's see. I need to be added as a moderator in order to remove messages. Perform this action by clicking. Okay, what is going on? Well, Streamlabs done come in here and took over. Interesting. I don't know if I pressed that feature, but okay. Good for her. Good for her. I knew she had sued someone. So I knew that she had some insights because I've been following her and she's always had some good inside information. Let's see. It was a bad framing. It's women defending him. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Because I was going to say, dog, 10 women came out already. They stay petty. And they have the same type of personality in this petty. It's absolutely I don't understand it. Yeah, because he managed Taylor Swift, and I remember she had to go back and I think he owned her masters, and then she went back and re-recorded everything and put it out. It was a big thing. So now it's too many different things that are connecting to me. And because the truth is somewhere in all of these connections. Has anybody figured out where how there used to be a show and a little computer game called Where in the World is Carmen Santiago? Has anybody figured out where Colleen is at? Where is Colleen Hoover? Because she's scrubbed her internet presence and we hadn't heard from her since. What's going on? Yeah, and it was so sad. If you look at those pictures, I mean, the ceiling tile is coming off, and they're down there in the basement having with all the Dasani water and the other stuff that they're using to be able to restock the theater, and they're down in the basement. And that to me was so petty because of the fact that everybody is in there grown. Blake could have been on the left side, and Justin Baldoni and his family could have been on the right side. And they would, I mean, it would not have brought so much attention to it. Yes, please hit the like button. There's a from what my calculation says, 107 of us in here. So please hit that like button for me. It'll help with my engagement, and I do appreciate it. Yes, thank you. And become an entertainer. And also, thank you so much, chat, for those of you all that were gifted memberships. You all put down here in the comments to thank Kat for her for the memberships that you were gifted. I really do appreciate that. Let me get through. Give her a big thank you. Her son had some issues. You think that's why she went off? Because I heard that he was in the harassment business as well. You think that's why she got off the internet, to be of assistance to him? Maybe she said some things untoward that she wasn't, that maybe I forgot about that. I had forgotten about that. I thought she was laying low. Oh, and I used to cheat because I used to get that. What was the name of that little book? I can't think of it now, but there was a little book that would, anytime they put a clue up there, I would go through this book. I think my dad bought it for me, and it had everything in there. And I would cheat, but I'd never find that heifer. I could never still find her. By the time I got to where she was, she had booked off, but I knew that was planned. But I mean, good Lord. Really? She scrubbed her thing. But let's get back to Ariadne, and I want to finish reading her thing, because this is interesting about the New York Times, because I do remember because they had almost Rose McGowan had almost lost her, the stress from it all. She almost lost herself from that, if I can remember correctly, because it was so long ago. The New York Times doesn't just control who gets exposed, they control who gets to do the exposing. Rose McGowan wasn't in the club. She was too raw, too unwilling to play by their rules. So they erased her from her own story. So no, at Real Candace Owens, this isn't about whether Blake Lively had the pool to make the New York Times, quote, take a risk. The New York Times doesn't take risks. They serve the machine. And once the right media elites decide who gets to win, the story is already written. Read the next post. It matters for both our causes. Okay, so she's going into her stuff, and I'll do something different for that. But I did want to be able to get into that. So it's interesting because Justin Baldoni is, according to the article that I read earlier for the video that I did before, that he is combining the lawsuits with the New York Times, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, the Jones lady, and what's her name? The lady that got her start by being backed by Weinstein. I can't think of her name. I want to say Olsen, but I don't know if that's the right name or not. But anyway, we have gotten all this information and what we need to do with it. So do we think that Taylor Swift gave her bestie a solid and talked with somebody over at the New York Times, and they were able to get this story out? Hold on. Is this his birthday, or what's going on with this? Yes, I did see that. I saw that he invited her to the premiere. Because I think is she the one that you all are talking about that passed away? Because she did pass away. Yeah, that was sweet. So it's going to be interesting. And do you all see my makeshift Hulk Pam? Let me take this down. I'm very proud of her. That's Hulk Pam. That's She-Hulk Pam. We love She-Hulk Pam. All right, people. We do this every week. We've talked about the Taylor Swift effect. We talked about old Lady Whistledine and to see what information she has, because if Lady Whistledine has some information, I need for her to drop her receipts. We have talked about Justin Baldoni and how I think it's a bad idea for him to pull this website up to lay out all these receipts and text messages and stuff like that, because all it does to me is push that narrative that he is doing a smear campaign, and he doesn't need that. Blake Lively is asking, or will ask, the court to have Justin Baldoni's case dismissed. I don't know if she'll be able to get that completed or not, but this is what she's trying to do. Now, if anybody can find Miss Colleen, y'all let me know. I've got a community post on there asking where in the world is Colleen Hoover. If you all spot Miss Colleen Hoover, somebody said they saw her at McDonald's buying a frappe. If you spot her, put it down in the community page. Let's see if we can talk with Colleen and see what's going on. If anybody can find out why Sony, all of a sudden Sony's hands are as clean and smooth as a baby's bottom, we need to find that information out as well. Because all of this and Sony is, no one sees Sony. We got Blake fighting for her life. We got Justin fighting for his life. We got the New York Times just kind of coasting. We got the PR people continuing to go back and forth with each other. And also, speaking about that, you remember I talked to you all about this case has been fascinating to me, watching the PR side of Hollywood get together and do all the things that they're doing. And so, again, I've got a post on my community post. I've got a video, Blake versus Justin, their PR teams, and who's winning. I've got round one. Y'all interact with that. Go over the video, go over the information, and then tell me, who do you think, whose PR team do you think is working overtime? Do you think it's the Lively PR team, or do you think it's the Baldoni's PR team, or do you actually think it is insider information? I need you all to interact with that. If you interact with that, I'll put up another post and we'll interact with that. And then we'll do a whole video. And I would love for some of my entertainers to come up and we will go back and forth to see the ins and outs of the mechanics of how this PR team is working and working overtime. Okay. Because all of this is fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. They had power over post-production of the movie, Sony. Blake Lively, exactly. She was in charge of marketing the movie and she pushed him clean out of that. And then she was out here making sure that everybody wore their florals and making sure that her hair products and her alcohol was being pushed. We have seen Blake Lively in interviews. I don't know if any of you all, well, I know that if you all came with Kat, if you all came over here with Kat, you've been watching. But if you've been watching this A$AP Rocky trial, there is a witness, the victim and the witness on the scene. Baby, he's already a mess. He's talking in code. He's a horrible witness. He's lying. He gets caught up in lies. You know, I have a little thing for him. He's A$AP Relly. He's CSI Relly. He's attorney Relly. He's a paralegal Relly. He is investment Relly. He's all different things, but master of none of them. And he's a horrible witness. I can imagine if we've seen Blake Lively in interviews, that deposition is going to be something serious. Because she is going to mumble and bumble and stumble her way through. I mean, she stumbled into telling everybody that Ryan Reynolds was the one that wrote the rooftop scene. She stumbled out here and told everybody that the producer and the composer from Deadpool helped her with her edit. But again, no one is talking about Sony. And it's all her stuff. Everything, when we talk about her doing this marketing, everything that people had complaints about was when she put her hands in it. When she put her hands into the wardrobe, there was an issue and there was a problem. When she put her hands into writing the script and having her husband writing the script, they went back to about 60% of the movie. I think it's 60 or 65% of the movie is what Justin put in there because her cut was trash. When the people were complaining about the market, about going to the theaters and watching the premieres, they had issues about the marketing and her marketing the alcohol and you know, people wearing their florals and she's marketing alcohol. And those people that were supposed to be assisted, particularly those that were that had been victims of domestic violence, were upset because of the fact that, you know, alcohol 9 times out of 10 is prevalent in those domestic violence incidents. And then you're tone deaf. You don't even think about, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have this alcohol here. When they ask you about the movie, you can't even tell it. And then we did learn from listening to the TikToker, and I'm gonna put all my sources down in my description box. When we were listening to her, no, excuse me, that's Dumois. I think that's what the name of this. They were saying that she didn't know her lines when she got on the set. She didn't know her lines, and she was very difficult to work with. So I and all of that, anything that she looks like that she put her hand in, that's where the criticism is coming from. Yeah. And they said that, and this is why she was able to take over the stuff that she was able to take over, because again, she threatened Sony with this. So again, why isn't Sony a bigger player in all of this than Sony has they have been? No, stupidity. You need to stop. Mm. 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 We're gonna have to do a timeline, y'all. We're gonna have to I'm gonna have to sit down with my timeline person, and we're gonna have to do a timeline. We're gonna have to do a timeline and connect all these different people together, because this is the New York Times seems suspect, Blake Lively seems suspect, Justin seems suspect, Taylor seems suspect, everybody seems suspect, Ryan is suspect, the production staff over at Deadpool is suspect. Because here's my thing. Who was paying these people this money? And people in Hollywood who work behind the scenes in Hollywood, how common is it that if you've got one person, because we can remember Deadpool and Wolverine and and Blake Lively's production, It Ends With Us, they were almost running concurrent. So I am confused if that's okay. Will contracts let you do that? Both of you all working on 2 separate things at the same time? Was Blake Lively paying them under the table? What's really going on? And maybe the producer, what did you say? The editor and the composer didn't want their name attached to the project, because again, when they reviewed both of the products from Blake and they reviewed the one for Justin, you know, they were like, we got to fix Blake. So they had to add pretty much most of the stuff that Justin had in there. They had to add it back. And so probably most of the stuff that he probably worked in got cut off, but still you get credit for working on it, right? I don't know why she didn't expect. Well, I think she thinks that because I put the lawsuit in, my lawsuit is more important than his. He put his in after mine. So my lawsuit is more important. So whatever my attorneys and I want, it should happen before anything that he does. And matter of fact, you know what? He's still out here smearing me. So I want his lawsuit thrown out. That's what they're saying. Lady Whistledown has mentioned it. The TikTokers have mentioned it. There is a Reddit post with under Colleen Hoover's name that has mentioned it. So this is going to be interesting. All right, people. We do this every week. Y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, we entertainers, we're gonna get this done. We're gonna figure out Sony. We're gonna figure out how Sony was able to sidestep and run down the alley streets and not get caught up in the wreck over on the main highway. We're gonna figure this out. We are absolutely positively about to figure this out. All right, people. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell your coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, make sure you join me tomorrow at about 11 o'clock. I'm going to go back over the ASAP Rocky trial for today, which was day 5. We're going to go back. We're going to go over that. I'm going to give you my commentary on what I think about Mr. ASAP Relly, what I think about the judge. And what I think about the prosecutor and the defense attorney, because all of them were hilarious today. There was some eye-opening things that came from me, but the hilarity of that whole group of players, absolutely crazy. I did get to see a video that Rihanna was there, but she scooted out. She scooted out before, I guess, the end of the thing, but she looked good. She looked real cute. She was looking pretty. And the rumors are that she smells really good too. So I'm quite sure everyone was smelling her all through the courtroom. But anyway, as always, people, bye-bye.